All right, we're gonna start with our warm up. Before we start, we are gonna do a couple things in kneeling. So if you have cranky knees, you might wanna have some extra padding. I have a yoga mat doubled up on top of my regular mat, just to give me a little extra cushion. So up to you and your workspace, but you might want a little extra for today. All right, starting with our usual warm up, some nice gentle arm swings. Once you get going, you can start turning a little further, lifting those heels. And then maybe go just a little bit faster, a little bit further. Really loosen up that torso. Beautiful. All right, from here, we're gonna come back to stillness and move on to our shoulder rotations. Nice big arm circles, if your shoulders allow it. If not, you can certainly do smaller ones. And go the other direction. And then moving on to our elbows. Nice circles with the elbows. Same thing, we're just loosening up those joints. And go the other direction. And then finally our wrists. I like to do figure eights on those. Gets both directions at one time. Beautiful. All right. Now that our upper body's nice and warmed up, we'll move on to our lower body with our hip rotations. And go the other way. And then from there, moving on to our knees, bring your feet in together, start with forward and backward. And if your knees are feeling good, you can add in those rotations. If your knees don't care for the rotations, stick with just the forward and back. If you're rotating, go the other direction. And then we're going to finish off with our ankles. If you need to hold on to something for a little support, chair, table, wall, whatever is fine. And go the other direction. Switch feet. Go the other direction. Beautiful. All right. Make sure everything's nice and loosened up. Maybe give your fingers a couple squeezes because we're going to be working our whole body today. We're going to start with a deadlift into a curl. So you can use, if you have a heavier weight or a barbell, you can certainly use that for this. To use one, you're just going to do your deadlift, come up, and both hands up into the curl. If you don't have one heavier one and you want to use your two regular dumbbells, you can do that as well. Deadlift, come up, and then you got to rotate your hands around for the curl. Either way, we've got 1 minute on the clock. Remember, the key for the deadlift is the nice flat back. So hinge those hips and keep your back nice and flat. All right, 1 minute. Here we go. Beautiful, looking good. Nice and steady, not in a rush. If you're doing lighter weight, you might go a little faster. Heavier weight, you're gonna go slower. But either way, go at your own pace. You're already halfway there. "15 more seconds. Remember to control the motion in both directions. Don't let it just fall. Get as much work from that muscle as you can. And time, beautiful. From there, we're gonna move on to a figure 8 in a horse stance. So a horse stance can be as deep or as shallow as it works for you, for your knees and your hips. And then you're gonna take a moderately heavy weight and you're just almost like you're doing a kayak motion, figurating all around just like that. All right, we've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Focus on the torso for this one. So you're getting some good lower body work in from that horse stance, but the rest of this is your core. Your arms really are only doing a tiny bit of the work here. Looking good, you got this. More than halfway there. Keep holding that horse stance, you got it. And time, excellent. All right, next up, we're going to go into an upward chest fly. I recommend you start off with a little bit lighter weight for this one. It's a pretty tricky one, and most people are not real experienced with this movement. So you're gonna take a relatively light weight, hold it out to your sides, and then you're pulling it up. You can have your elbows slightly bent or your arms more straight, depending on what's more comfortable for you. Your goal is to work the chest muscles and the upper arm muscles right through here. All right, we've got 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. You want to keep a soft bend in your knees. Have your feet a little more than hip width apart. Try to keep that tailbone tucked. And I'm actually letting the weights go just a little bit behind me to get good range of motion. It's very similar to what you would do with bands or a cable machine in a gym. Coming out from the side, coming up on that angle. Beautiful. More than halfway there. Ooh, I can feel it already. Almost done. And time, excellent. All right, next we're gonna go into a half kneel. We're gonna do an overhead press into a tricep extension. We're just gonna stick with the left arm for now. So we're gonna do a full minute overhead press, tricep extension, just on the one side. All right, 1 minute, here we go. Using this half kneeling position helps you keep your core engaged too. So it feels like your arm's doing all the work, but if you tuck that tailbone under, squeeze those abs in, you're getting a good core exercise too. Looking good. Same things we talked about before. Control that weight in all directions. Don't let it flop when it's going down. You want to work the muscle from every angle. Oh, like 15 seconds to go. We're almost there. And time. Beautiful. From here, we're going to switch and do the same thing on the other side. So switch knees, switch hands. And then we've got 1 minute on the right side. and go. Looking good. Remember to keep that tailbone tucked under, keep your core squeezed in. Try to keep your elbow close to your head, but that makes that control of the weight even more important so you don't hit yourself in your head with your weight. 10 more seconds. And time. All right, for our last one, if you have trouble with your back, you want to go down a little bit in weight too, or even try this one empty hand. We're going to do reverse flies from a tabletop position. We're going to do one arm at a time for 30 seconds. You're going to take a weight and bring it, so you'll have one hand on the ground. You might even use one of your weights to brace yourself to give you plenty of room. The other hand's going to come up with a fly out to the side, just like this. And then at the halfway mark, we'll switch sides and do the same thing on the other side. All right, we've got 1 minute. Here we go. Really working that back. You want to still try to keep a flat back and a gentle bend in your elbow. You don't want your arm fully extended. Ten more seconds on this side and then we'll switch. You should feel it mostly in your back. You might feel some in your arm as well. Halfway, switch sides. $15 more seconds. And time. All right, that's one round down. Grab some water, and then we got 2 rounds to go. All right, let's get back to it. We are starting back with that dumbbell, or sorry, deadlift plus curl. That's the one you can do with your barbell or with your dumbbells. All right, 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Nice flat back. Come up and curl it all the way up. Looking good. More than halfway there. It's okay to have a bend in your knees for this one. And you don't have to go all the way to the floor. You want to go down as far as you can while keeping a flat back. So if a flat back is something you struggle with, only go down as far as you can to maintain that good form. You're still working those back and leg muscles. Time. From here, we're moving into that horse stance figure 8. So grab your heavier weight. 1 minute on the clock. And go. Remember here, we're focusing on that torso twist, really getting a good core workout. If you like to use your imagination while you're working out, you can picture yourself on a nice lake kayaking around, maybe some springs if you're in Florida. And look at that, only 20 seconds left already. Almost there. And time, excellent. All right, we're back to those upward flies. So maybe go down to a lighter weight or heavier if you're feeling good on those. And 1 minute, here we go. Oh, hold on. 1 minute, not 2 minutes. Now we're ready. Extending just a little bit back past your hips and then coming right up the center. Beautiful. If your arms start to get fatigued, you can always set those weights down and just do empty hand. Focus on really tightening those chest muscles as you're coming up. So flexing them here at the back point and squeezing them up to the top. If you feel like it's not enough work, move up to a heavier weight if you've got it, or slow the motion down so that you're really working those muscles. And time, beautiful. All right, now from here, it's time to go back down to our half kneel and our overhead press into our tricep extension. 1 minute, here we go. Same thing on this one. You can move to a lighter weight or no weight at all if you're starting to feel fatigued. You can up your weight if you've got it, if you need a little more, or you can just do the motion super slow. Controlled the whole time. It really increases the amount of work you're doing. Doing it in that slow motion because it increases the amount of time your muscles under strain. 20 more seconds. Almost there. That tricep extension overhead is a tough one. We've got this. Time, beautiful. All right, switch sides. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Keep breathing. Keep lifting. Keep that core zipped up tight. Still trying to tuck your tailbone even in the half kneel. And all those same modifications apply on this side too, of course. 25 seconds to go. Almost there. And time. All right, for our last one, we've got that single arm reverse fly, 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. All right, here we go. Really focus on that shoulder blade, squeezing it in. Really working those back muscles. Keeping that nice flat back the whole time. We got 5 more seconds on this side. And switch sides. Now you get to focus on squeezing in that other shoulder blade. Almost there. And time. Good job. All right, grab some water. We got one set left. All right, bring it back in. We are back to that deadlift plus the curl. So if you have a barbell, grab that. If not, grab your dumbbells. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. You got this. This is your last set. You can finish it strong. 30 more seconds on this one. Almost there. And time. Beautiful. Next up, we have that horse stance, figure eights. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Really digging into that water if you're kayaking. You want to make sure you're scooping down so that you have that good figure eight motion, because that's what's working your core and your upper back as well. 20 more seconds. Keep breathing, keep working. We're almost there. And time. Next up, those upward flies. So again, go down to the lower weight, maybe even take it down a little bit if you're starting to feel fatigued. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. It's always okay to change in the middle. So if you start a set thinking, whoa, I'm really tired, I need to go light. And then you think, you know, maybe I could do a little heavier. You can always move up a little bit. And same thing, vice versa. If you start the set thinking, I got this, I'm good at this weight, and halfway through you realize I'm not good at this weight, go ahead and change. It's never worth it to risk injury. So if you're fatigued, take it down, or just set it down all the way and call yourself good on that round. Time. Back down for those kneeling overhead press into the tricep extension. And same thing, adjust your weight as needed. 1 minute, here we go. Looking good. 30 more seconds on this side. Almost there. 15 seconds to go. Slow and steady. Still keeping that tailbone tucked under. Still keeping that core zipped up tight. Time. Switching over to the other side. 1 minute. Here we go. You may have one arm that's a little weaker than the other arm. That's normal. You compensate for that side as needed. That's the beauty of doing these one arm exercises. Really lets you see where you are, because a lot of times when you're using both arms together, one will compensate. Plus, this makes you a little off balance, makes your core work more. 15 more seconds. Almost there. And time. All right, our last one is those single arm reverse flies. Here we go. Nice flat back, soft bend in the elbow, squeezing the shoulder blade in. Halfway done with this side. Switching in 5 seconds. And switch. Halfway done with this side. This is our last one. You got it. Go all the way to the bell. And time. Awesome. All right, go grab some water and clear your space of weights. We'll do our final stretch. All right. For our final stretch, we're going to start with our feet hip width apart. Bring our arms up. Nice deep breath in. Let it all out as you fold forward. Just hang for a second. Let everything start to decompress. And then from here, you're going to come up just a little bit, just enough to let your hands come up off the floor and swing your arms in small circles in one direction. And then the other direction. And then from there, you're going to roll all the way up. Shrug those shoulders up and around and back. Bring your feet out further than hip width, even a little further than shoulder width. We're going to do a side bend in one direction. And then we're going to reach down toward the foot on the same side so that you feel a nice stretch through your side body and down into your hip. From there, roll that arm over so that it's out above your head again, and then come all the way up. We're gonna go to the other side. Nice side bend here, however far is comfortable for you. You're gonna feel a little stretch, but no pinching or pain. And then same thing, reaching down toward that opposite foot, just until you feel a stretch through your side body, maybe down into your hip. From there, roll that arm back over your ear and then come all the way up. All right, one more. We're gonna put one foot in front, peel those toes up, bend forward until you feel a nice stretch through the back of your leg and calf. Maybe reach for that toe, maybe even reach for the ground if it's in your range of motion. And then you're gonna plant that foot, push that opposite hip forward. And then step back and we'll switch sides, being careful of your mat. Put that foot out, peel the toe up, lean down, maybe reach for your foot, maybe the ground, maybe your shin, or just keep your hands on your hip. Then plant that foot, come all the way back up, push that back hip forward. Take a couple deep breaths here. And release. All right, you are all done. Great job today. I'll see you next week.